This is homework for Monday, February 8th. You should be on page 36 of your book, and you're doing A, 1 through 4. And you should have already done it, and you're just here to check your answers. So if you haven't done it yet, pause the video and complete it. You are writing equations for graphs, so you have 4 different graphs, and you're going to write the equation for them, which means you need 2 things to make an equation of y equals mx plus b. I need to find my m, my slope, and b, my y-intercept. Okay, so to find my m, my slope, I need to find 2 points to use to make my slope triangle. Now I can't just use any point. I'm seeing a lot of people still do this, where you're just choosing any point like you would use this one. But this line, my line right here, is not going through the grid marks perfectly. It's not like crossing this plus sign right here with the grid lines. It's kind of over a little bit. So I need to find a point where my line is going through the grid lines perfectly. So here's one. And I follow it down. No, no, no. Here's one. No, no, no. And here's one. Okay, so I'm going to make my 2 points that I'm going to use. I'm going to use this one and this one. And now with those I make my slope triangle. Come down and over. Now I need to count my rise and my run. I'm going to look at the axes and see what they're counting by. This is, although it's labeling by 2, it's counting by ones. 1, 2. So I can count my rise. 1, 2, 3. And then my run is 1, 2. Now to do slope, I have to do rise over run. And I'm going to keep it as a fraction. I'm going to keep this as my m. So I'm going to start my equation. Y equals 3 over 2x. And now if I go and look for my y-intercept, where my line crosses the y-axis, is at 0. So you can either say plus 0 or just leave it 3 over 2x. Okay, and that was the m. And I'll just mark 0 is the b. Okay, number 2. Again, I need to find 2 things. I need to find my m and my b. So I'll set it up the same way. So I'm going to find 2 points to use as for my slope triangle. So I start here. That's a point. No, yes, no, yes, no, yes. So it looks like it's ever 2. So I'm going to use this one and this one. And put in my slope triangle. So my rise is 1, my run is 2, and it's rise over run. I'm going to keep that as a fraction, so that's my m. And I'm going to look for my y-intercept, where my line runs into my y-axis is right here at -1. So I found my 2 things, and now I just need to put them into my equation. Y equals 1/2 x minus 1. Remember, it's not plus -1, it's just -1. Okay, number 3. Again, I need to find y equals mx plus b. I'm looking for the m and the b. Now I'm going to put in my 2 points that I want to use for my slope triangle. So I start here and go down. That's a point I can use. This one and this one. I'm going to put a point there and a point there. Connect it with my slope triangle. Now I'm going to put in my rise over run. Notice that my line is falling, and to go from one point to the other I have to go down 2. Because I go down 1, 2, so this is -2, and then my run is 1, 2, 3. So I have a slope of -2 over 3 is my m. Now for the b, where my line crosses the y-axis, is right here at +1. So I have y equals -2/3 x plus 1. Okay, next. Last one, number 4. Again, you're going to find 2 points that you can use for your slope triangle where your line intersects the grid lines perfectly. So I follow it down, no, yes, no, no, yes, no, no, yes. So I'm going to choose 2 of those here, and let's go crazy, and I'll go all the way up here. Okay, because no matter where you put it, as long as you're using points that intersect the grid lines perfectly, you should get the same slope as me. So now I'm going to count my rise and my run. My run is 1, 2, 3, 4. And my rise is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I have rise over run is 6 over 4. But I can reduce that because 2 goes into 6 3 times and 2 goes into 4 2 times. Okay, and another thing I didn't do is realizing that it's going down because my line from left to right is falling, so this is negative. So here's my slope, negative 3 over 2. Now my y-intercept, where my line crosses the x-axis, is right here at point -1. Okay, so now I have both things. I'm going to put them in my equation. Y equals negative 3 over 2x minus 1. Alright, that's the homework. Your secret message is to tell me what indigence mean. That was last week's word, indigence. See you tomorrow.